Help is on the way. When we decided I was moving to Sausalito, Owen and I talked about how to make the transition as easy as possible for Bailey. I felt strongly, probably more strongly than Owen ever did, that we shouldn't move Bailey out of the only home she'd ever known, the home she'd been living in for as long as she could remember. I wanted her to have continuity. Her floating home, complete with its wooden beams and bay windows and its storybook views on Issaquah Dock, was her continuity, her safe haven. But I wonder if it didn't just make it more apparent. Someone moved into her most cherished space, and there was nothing she could do about it. Still, I did everything I could to not disturb the balance, her balance. Even in the way that I moved into the house, I tried to keep the peace. I put my stamp on Owen's and my bedroom, but the only other room I redecorated wasn't a room at all. It was our porch, lovingly hugging the front of the house. Before I arrived, the porch was empty, but I lined it with potted plants, rustic tea tables, and I built a bench to put by the front door. He takes his badge. It is a great rocking bench, shingled in white oak, striped pillows for comfort. Owen and I have made it our weekend ritual to sit on the bench together, drinking our morning coffee. It's our time to catch up on the week as the sun rises slowly over the San Francisco Bay, catching the bench in its warmth. Owen is more animated in those conversations than during the work week, a load lifted as the day stretches out before him, empty and relaxed. That's partially why the bench makes me so happy, why I take comfort even passing by it, and why I nearly jump out of my skin when I walk outside to take out the trash and there is someone sitting on it. Garbage day, he says. I turn around to see a man I don't recognize leaning against the bench's arm like he belongs there. He wears a backward baseball cap and a windbreaker, holds tight to a cup of coffee. Can I help you? I say. I'm hoping so. He motions toward my wrists, but you may want to put those down first. I look down to see that I'm still holding the trash, the two weighty garbage bags in my hands. I drop the bags into the trash cans. Then I look back up and take him in. He's young, maybe in his early 30s, and he's good looking in a way that's disarming, complete with a strong jaw, dark eyes. He's almost too good looking, but the way he smiles gives him away. He knows it better than anyone. Hannah, I take it, he says. It's nice to meet you. Who the hell are you? I say. I'm Grady, he says. He bites the edge of the coffee cup, holding it between his lips as he points at me to give him a second. Then he reaches in his pocket and pulls out something that looks like a badge. He holds it out for me to take. Grady Bradford, he says. You can call me Grady, or Deputy Bradford if you prefer, though that seems awfully formal for your purposes. And what are those? Friendly, he says, then he smiles. Friendly purposes. I study the badge. It has a star with a circular ring wrapped around it. I want to run my finger around that circle, though through the star, as if that will help me determine whether the badge is genuine. You're a police officer? A U.S. Marshal, actually, he says. You don't look like a U.S. Marshal, I say. And what does a U.S. Marshal look like? He says. Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive, I say. He laughs. It's true, I'm younger than some of my colleagues, but my grandfather was with the service, so I got an early start, he says. I assure you it's been a legitimate one. What do you do for the marshal's office? He takes his badge back and stands up, the bench rocking back and forth as it loses the weight of him. Well, primarily, I apprehend people who are defrauding the U.S. government, he says.